Yeah. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Profit Matters Live. Today, we've got a special guest dialing in from Aspen. Or you're in you're in California right now, or are you in Aspen, Ty?
I'm currently in California, but based in Aspen. So
currently in California. Yeah. So Ty is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Inbuild. And Inbuild uses AI to help with the accounting process, particularly, it sounds a lot, Ty, like the matching process of the purchase orders and who you should pay and when you should pay and all that kind of fun stuff. So welcome, Ty. Tell us a little bit about how did you get this thing started originally? What was the concept behind Inbuild?
Sure. Yeah. So I was working for a large general contractor in Aspen for a number of years, and originally was brought into that company to implement software to solve this exact problem. And we tried Procore, Buildertrend, Sage, QuickBooks, everything in order to solve the problem of working with hundreds of different subcontractors and bills and purchase orders all coming into our emails. And within the first 2 months of me working there, our accountant and bookkeeper quit because they couldn't handle just the endless flow of invoices and documents into their email. So it was like thousands of invoices coming into their email, and then it just ended up in mine. So then I would just go to sleep and dream about my email. And eventually I just got fed up with it and went to my brother, who has software experience, has worked in San Francisco, and we started the company.
Nice. So the real premise here is you were trying to solve a problem for yourself.
That's right.
Which is how so many of these things start, right? It's trying. So tell me a little bit about the process. So, and let's step back for maybe people that are listening that don't understand the construction process. I mean, if you're a general contractor, you're dealing with a lot of subs, you're dealing with a lot of vendors. I mean, in a lot of senses, a general contractor is a project manager. I mean, that's what they are doing. They are managing this project, making sure everybody gets paid, the liens are released, all that kind of aspect. So Ty, give us a little perspective on how you resolve the problem of all of this communication and documentation going back and forth.
Yeah, and we kind of spent a lot of time thinking about where the source of information was coming from.
Yeah, we call it a single source of truth, right? In the software game, it's like, what is your single source of truth? Where is all of the information? Because if you have it in too many divergent systems, I'm dealing with this right now. We're working on a report for a client. We have 6 different reports all coming out. Unfortunately, in 3 of them, the name of the main entity is different than it is in the others. Right. And then we have to mash all this stuff up and write programming and code. And it's not easy. I mean, it's a really difficult process.
That's right. Yep. And we kind of, from looking at, like, for instance, Buildertrend and the other ones, they have all the information once you enter it into it. And that's what we didn't like, because sometimes we want to go on vacation, right? And we don't want to always have to be manually entering in all that data into those like super powerful softwares, but where the information actually is flowing is in your email. So we've created a proprietary system that plugs into email and is able to learn from the human that knows what the process should be. So every time you interact with the system, it's going to learn and customize the artificial intelligence to your business.
So you're taking the invoices. Let's just give a good example here. You get an invoice from a subcontractor that needs to be paid. You know, they've got their progress payment that they want. So that's usually coming into email, and then somebody is pulling that up on one screen, and then pulling up their accounting software on another screen, and they're physically retyping all of that information into that system. And then if their accounting process is good, and Ashley, I'll let you talk about this for a minute, they should be then taking the log of all of their purchase orders, and they should be lining it up. Ashley, you want to explain how that part works?
Yeah, just talking about lining up the purchase order with the invoice to make sure what we're actually paying is what we were wanting for either the product or the service. And so we do a lot of that where we see tax on an invoice when it shouldn't be, or we see that we ordered something that we didn't actually ever receive. And so we're always double checking to see what happened. And I think what Ty's done is he's made a system where we see hundreds of invoices coming in, especially for a big GC, into one inbox. And what they've built allows us to not have to forward those or grab them or worry about missing them. And it's finding duplicates, and it's understanding what we do with the AP, with that bill that's coming in from the vendor, before it gets entered. And then it takes it into that system and it actually gets entered, and we have a means to pay it and to understand what project. And then Ty, what I wanted you to touch on today for sure was being able to pay bills on a job, because what we've talked about in the last 2 episodes was paying when paid. And the statute of limitations of we don't want to pay one job with another job's money and things like that, because it really is illegal. And so the cool thing that I saw whenever I looked at the Inbuild tool was we actually see what pay application we received money for. And then we know, okay, these are the bills in that same period that we need to be covering.
Yeah, Ty, talk about that a little bit. Give us a little bit more insight into how that part of it works.
Yeah, that's right. So essentially all these invoices are coming in, and when we're either like what Ashley's doing, like either back at the office or from like an outsourced accounting and bookkeeping firm, which a lot of our customers are really interested in, they don't understand what's going on at the project. The project managers do. And
yeah,
so there's that missing step where back and forth in email, you got to approve cost code, assign those invoices to draws and pay applications, all before you can even pay that invoice.
Yes.
So that's what we're enabling with that back and forth communication, being able to track all that, log it. And then once you do, like Ashley, you were saying, put that invoice on a draw, associate it to the project, put it into that pay application and submit it to the owner. Then you're able to, like in bulk for that entire draw, pay all of those invoices electronically. And what we can do is either conditional or unconditional lien waivers. So we have a DocuSign integration, and we can automatically send those out. So you don't have to worry about like keeping up with all of your lien waiver rights. You don't have to worry about, hey, did we miss that invoice payment? You can see all that information and break it down by project and specific billing cycles and draws.
Huh, very interesting. So tell me a little bit, Ty, about how do you price this out? Like, how does that work from as far as your collaboration with the contractor? Are you a SaaS, or how are you set up?
Yeah, it's just a SaaS model. So we have different tiers based off of the size of the company. So we work with small specialty remodelers, and we work all the way up to large, like multi-million-dollar general contractors, some big general contractors in Texas and Austin that love our platform, that have 30 plus project managers and large teams. They're able to utilize this and really connect the dots between the people back at the office and the people at the job site. So we price it based off of a number of seats and a number of integrations.
That makes sense. And I think it's important, I've talked about this a little bit on a couple of other episodes, but one of the things that we do, particularly when it comes to construction and manufacturing, one of the things that I do on my consulting is we always do what's called a PERT study. And PERT studies are really interesting and will tie into what the benefit that Ty brings. And a PERT study essentially says that with every process in your business, you have an input, right? You have all the data that comes in, and you have an output, whatever it is that you deliver to your customer. And then there's the outcome, what they get from the delivery. But we always forget about this throughput piece, and that is how the sausage actually gets made. And one of the things that a PERT study does is it takes, the way that we do it is we go in with stopwatches, and we literally time exactly how long it takes for somebody to enter an invoice into the system, for somebody to read through it. What happens if there is a deviation from that and they have to send a request to somebody else? And we create that whole study. We put that together. We put in an hourly rate, a fully burdened hourly rate for what that person costs. And then we figure how many times they do that task each year. And then it produces a result at the end that says, you have 25 people, each of them spending $25,000 in labor per year. And very, very quickly, somebody goes, holy crap, it cost me $500,000 to put these invoices into the system. And that's really the gap that you're solving there, right? At least for that very specific thing. And we have lots of issues in construction, as we all know. You got purchase orders, you've got submittals, which right now submittals are I'm about ready to jump off a bridge dealing with submittals on a client. You've got safety documentation, you have all of these things. But the goal here is trying to figure out how to automate a specific aspect of that process in order to streamline it, reduce the amount of labor that's being dumped into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right. And when we talk to a lot of owners, the big value that they get out of Inbuild is the expedited cash flow. So they love that. Their teams are able to get their pay applications out to the owners and clients like 2 weeks quicker than they normally can. That means that they get paid 2 weeks quicker and that the subcontractor gets paid 2 weeks quicker. We're not the only AP data entry software out there. So what we really strive for and what we love to talk to our clients and customers about is how much quicker they can get those invoices out to their clients so they can get paid faster, so everyone else can get paid. Like Ashley was saying just a minute ago, paid when the work is done. That should be how it should be done, but it's not always.
Makes sense. When we talk about that sort of integration piece, I mean, do we have any ability yet in your software to compare against the purchase orders to know because that, and I have to tell you, I mean, I have 2 stories here in the last couple of weeks with clients. One paid a $50,000 invoice for somebody we don't know who they are, and another one paid a $30,000 invoice twice. And they just didn't even catch it until it was audited.
Yep. And we got all of that built into the system. So the artificial intelligence is helping you with those duplicates. And we're also being able to track not only purchase orders, but changes to purchase orders. So anytime there's a change order and an addition, we can track those to the grain.
Nice. So you've got the matching piece and then electronic payment, you said?
That's right.
Do the electronic payment on the back end. So you're not cutting physical checks per se, which I know a lot of us in this industry still have these things. These are called checkbooks for anybody under the age of about 40. Mine even have, I even have the ones that have the little carbon copy thing, right? So it's how outdated and antiquated is that industry? Ashley, you were going to say something on that?
I found a lot of GCs actually still cut paper checks, and especially subs, because they have their subs who walk into the office 5 o'clock on Friday and they're coming to get their check. And so when we've tried in the past to move them to another bill pay system, they're like, oh, well, what if I need a check on Friday immediately? And so we get a lot of pushback lately on these other bill pay systems because they say if we're going to cut a manual check, it's going to take 5 to 7 business days for somebody to receive it. So I think that there's going to be, I know that Ty's planning on having a manual check process either now or some point later. You can get premium and you could add that if it was a deal breaker for you. But we talked to a GC last week that said, I have an office manager. We can print checks. Just make sure you've teed them all up so that we can go in and click, click, click. You've already pushed them. So in, let's say, QuickBooks Online, you go to pay bills, and then they're now in the print check section. So your office manager isn't having to choose which bills to pay. We've already done that in Inbuild, right? And then we're pushing them over, and we're saying these checks are just to print now. The bill's already marked paid. So we can do that. So I like the option to pay ACH, and then I think you have an option, Ty, to pay with a credit card. So you have both of those options right now, and then you could do the manual checks. And so if you're a construction, you're listening today, I would say if you're going to give Inbuild a try, you're probably already cutting checks anyways. And so have somebody in your office who's just going to do a check run once or twice a week. And I always say do a check run once a week or every 2 weeks for cash flow. It makes it really easy to forecast because we have general contractors who want to cut subs checks whatever random day. We're reimbursing for material and this and that. It makes it really hard for you to be able to maintain accurate cash flow.
I think I was going to just say to that point real quickly. I think it's important for everybody that's listening to this to understand that there is a cost to writing a check, right? I've consulted for some bigger companies, and there's a cost of anywhere between $30 and $40 every single time you write a check. And that's because of the reconciliation. That's because of, the physical labor that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into writing checks. So trying to get away from doing that is absolutely ideal. Tyler, you were going to say.
Yeah, two things. I'll touch on that, Derek. One, I was just talking to a customer of ours, and they were a little resistant of the electronic payments, but they just wrote a $60,000 check to a subcontractor, and that check was stolen out of the mailbox, and they changed the name on it and cashed it themselves. Someone stole the money. Yeah, and they're like, okay, we need to switch over. And the last time, Ashley, we were talking, you gave us a great idea on, hey, let's try to push all the subcontractors and suppliers into electronic payments, but we know that not everyone's gonna be able to switch over. So we have now those two options. The first one, if you need to pay next day, you can electronically, but also if they're not set up for electronic payments, then we'll just through a third party send out a check electronically, and that will hit the mail. So we got some workarounds all coming up. So
nice. Well, as someone who just got a notice from the IRS today that I didn't pay my taxes last quarter, although I have a canceled check that shows that I did pay my taxes last quarter, I get it, right? I mean, think about the IRS is sending documents and calling me and going through this whole thing, and they cash the check, right? The electronic signature that goes along with these things is way better when it comes to getting things set up and reconciled. Exciting stuff. How do people find out more, Ty, about what you guys do?
Sure. Yeah. Just hit our website. It's inbuild.ai. Go on there. There's some forms you can throw in your email. You can give us a call. We're happy to give you a demo and show you what the power of Inbuild can provide.
Well, I'm going to sign up for a demo myself because I think I have a couple of use cases. So this is super helpful. Thanks for joining us here this week on Profit Matters Live. And for those of you that are in the construction industry, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we've got this content coming out every couple of weeks. And we're excited to help you find ways to improve your business, particularly as things start to slow down. I think we're all starting to see it a little bit here in the construction industry. So until next time.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks.